podcast of true witness to the living example of we heal through one another. We heal through relation 2 by 2. This podcast is a space for us to meet fully in the present and to allow the miracles, the love, and the light to shine through the space between us. This is truly just a reminder that we do not wake up alone. We remember the truth together, 2 by 2, as the light reveals itself in the space between us. I am so excited for this conversation. I have a conversation with Joy, who I literally have never met, and I know so much about. This is another connection through Julie Hamilton, one of her great friends, but Joy has been a huge catalyst in so many different ways for Julie and as well as myself in just deeper remembrance and deeper truth and deeper connection to God and Jesus. Joy is the inspiration behind these little Jesuses that Julie got all of us at Lighthouse for Christmas. And Joy, I can't wait for you guys to listen to this conversation because literally we hit play within the first few minutes of hopping on for our first ever interaction, and we immediately realize a thing that we both have, which Julie had bought us both, and then it just like pours into this heart-opening conversation really about faith and trust and surrender and love and forgiveness and all things, everything I love to, talk about. But I think the most important thing is like immediately I feel the deep connection with Joy. And I hope that you feel the light that pours through this, no matter what the words are that are coming out. But just there's so much light and love in this conversation. And Joy and I have already put another one, hopefully, on the calendar. So this will not be the last. And she has so many upcoming things that I'm super excited for her and cannot wait to hear how they go. So yeah. I mean, I could go on, but then I will tell you literally everything. So instead, I can't wait for you to just sit back and fully receive everything that is coming through in this conversation, all of the love, the connection, the joy that is right here waiting for you to not only receive it, but to perceive it for what it is, which is truly the light. So thank you so much, as always, for listening in to Light Between Us. Leave a comment, subscribe, do all the things that you feel called to do. And remember, we heal 2 by 2. So if this inspired you, if this conversation even prickled you, share with a friend and have a discussion, unpack. This is what 2 by 2 is. So by no means is this conversation that you're about to listen to the end. It is meant to spark you going 2 by 2 in conversation with others as well and connection. So much love, so much joy. Oh, I can't wait for you to just receive. Love you. Bye-bye. Yay. Well, thank you, Joy, for coming on. I'll do an introduction later after we're done talking, but I wanted to hit record right away because your coffee mug, I'm just sharing for anyone tuning in, sparked. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, let me see that. And then you turned it around and I was like, Julie bought me a sweatshirt like that. And then you said,
she bought me the same sweatshirt and a mug.
And I got the hat in the sweatshirt. And so like, we literally have the same exact sweatshirt. We have never met. Julie is the common thread here in this connection. Cease, I did a podcast recording with her a couple weeks ago through the same. So Julie's like, why don't you have Joy and Cease? So I was like, okay. But I have met Cease in person. I have never even seen your face until 3 minutes ago. I haven't even seen a picture of you.
Well, it's so nice to meet you.
You too. Oh, I just feel there's so much like so many things that Julie has shared about you and that have like sparked deeper just things. Like I remember the first time I think I really heard about you was when Julie was getting deeper into spirituality and, her view on that. And she talked about how her conversations with you had gotten so much deeper, but she brought up, is it Joe Osteen? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yes. And how you at least watch his sermons and think, and had introduced her to that. And so we were talking about a sermon, and afterwards I got off the call and I was telling my partner Patrick, I was like, have you heard of this Joel Osteen guy? Because I'm awful with names. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I think one day he'll invite you to speak at one of his churches. And I was like, what? No way. And so like I looked him up, and like it's a lot of the same thought system, like where the focus is just on love and loving everyone, and like, yeah. So that was like my
Very,
first like introduction to you.
very, I feel like Joel Osteen is very positive. And I have
Yeah.
had people say to me, well, he's not a real minister, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? It's all about his positivity. And
Yeah.
like you said, his love, and just loving everyone, and give your good energy. And yeah, I listen to
Yeah.
him pretty much every single day. I've
Yeah.
called into his wife's radio show and been on a couple of times.
I didn't know she had one.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
it was really powerful and super, super exciting, because after they put me on and I gave my testimonial and whatnot,
Yeah.
the producer came back on and he was like, wow, that was really powerful, and
Mm.
your name lives up to it. And it was making me feel really good. But what really touched me is he said, we have over 1 million people that listen to our show. And I was
Wow.
like,
I'm getting the
ooh,
goosebumps.
I was like, oh my gosh, if I helped even just one person by
Yeah.
just infusing some positivity, for sure.
Yeah.
I always say my mantra all last year, and probably for the rest of my life, has been, or was, positivity, patience, and prayer. It's like my
Mm.
3 P's, to always remind myself you have to be so patient and stay positive and just pray. I mean, that's all you can
Oh,
do
yeah.
sometimes, right?
All the time. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're already gonna have me crying. I actually put mascara on today. I'm like already almost like crying. Like I'm trying to hold it back. But it's
Oh,
so beautiful because I mean, my belief is, I mean, your name says it all, right? Like now my Etsy's like my word of the year is joy. My word of the rest of my life is joy, essentially. Is like remembering the joy, being the light. And when you were talking about Joel and someone saying he, isn't a real minister, what came to my mind is joy. Aren't we all ministers? Because
yeah.
like at least I follow not follow. I use the Course in Miracles to help me remember my relationship with God, is essentially what I did. But in it, it talks about like we're all always teaching. The question is, what are you teaching? Are you teaching fear or love? And you're teaching through your actions, right? And how you're showing up. And so essentially, we're all constantly ministering to whoever we're coming in contact based on where we're coming from. Are we coming from our 3 Ps, or are we coming from anger and hatred and fear and separation? Um, yeah. So like I
Yeah.
love the 3 Ps.
I know. I was like, okay, maybe that's going to be one of my chapters in my book. But I do think that we are all ministers, and I do think we all teach each other, and we all
Mm-hmm.
learn from each other. And as
Mm-hmm.
much as I want to impart good wisdom on my kids, I pray for this every day, that I want to help build other people up. I feel like I've been very, very blessed, and I feel like there's a purpose for the reason why I do. I feel like I was saved and I was healed for a reason, and there's such a purpose in that. And I feel like that purpose is positivity and lifting others up, and
Mm-hmm.
never letting somebody be alone. And like you said, ministering, I think we do just flat out in our relationships, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
mother, daughter, child, husband, wife, friends, deep, deep friends for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we help each other, we teach each other, we learn. And I'm still learning every single day. I read, I do my devotionals, and I'm still learning. And I'm like, oh, thank you for the reminder. Like you said,
Yeah.
a lot of it is just reminders too.
That's all. Because you know the truth. You know that you are like fully loved, child of God. I mean, like you have children, even if they did some of the quote unquote most heinous things in the world, would you be disappointed? Yeah, most likely. But I mean, at least for me, I have a son I adopted. I could never relinquish my deep love for him,
Right.
period, no matter what he did. Like, it's not possible. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's an unconditional love. That's the other thing too. I thank God every day for unconditional love. The sins I've
Right.
committed, the sins I do on a daily basis, even when I have bad thoughts about someone and I'm like, oh, that's not good. Thank you for forgiving me.
Yeah.
I do the Lord's Prayer a lot, especially when I'm frustrated or thinking bad thoughts. I stop and in my head, I
Hmm.
just say it because it's a reminder,
Yeah.
forgiving those who trespassed against us, because guess what? You forgave me. So
Yeah.
show mercy and grace because he shows you mercy and grace.
Right.
So yeah, holding on to my faith and just getting deeper into it the last year
Hmm.
was super, super important because it kept me very, very positive. Not one time did I think, oh no, I'm not going to make it through this. Or I always, from the minute I figured it out myself, when I went into the
Hmm.
portal and saw what I
Do you
saw, and
want
I
to
was
give
like,
some context? Someone,
yes,
people
I'm
listening
sorry.
might be like, "What's she talking about?"
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know because of Julie.
Yeah, because of Julie. I was diagnosed with breast cancer December 7th of 2024. And I say diagnosed. I went into the portal on December 7th. And I know that because it was my daughter's birthday, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the mammogram report and I was like, ooh, this is not good. And that was on the weekend. And I called a friend of mine who is an ultrasound tech, works with a radiologist. And she's like, you're such a hypochondriac. It's going to be fine. And this, and that. So I said, well, let me just send this to you. I'm on the phone first thing in the morning with my doctor and making all these calls. And she called me in the middle of the day from work and she just said, Joy. And I said, it's okay. It's totally okay. I already know. I already know in my heart. I already know it's going to be fine. And literally from that moment forward, and don't get me wrong, on December 7th, it was a hard day. But then after
Mm-hmm.
that, I just pulled myself up by the bootstraps and I said, you know what? It's going to be fine. God has you in the palm of his hands. He's going to protect you. Jesus is going to heal you. Everything is going to be okay. And I know in my heart, I have a really big mouth. I know a lot of people. I tell everybody, get your mammogram. I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, you can get through anything with the right positive mindset and with prayer and with a lot of support and love for sure,
Mm-hmm.
too. But I felt like that was part of, he didn't give this to me, but we're going to use it. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
use the bad things that
Yeah.
happen to us. And my dad said it to me the other day, lessons are blessings, because they are. And they make you realize and persevere, and they build your character, and it was life changing. And I was so very, very blessed because I was set up with the very best doctors in Charlotte. I
Mm-hmm.
even other doctors and dentists and just people were like, "Oh, you have Doctor So and so. That's amazing. He's the best." Blah, blah, blah. So it was such a good feeling, and I felt like that was lined up for me too. That maybe that's why I was brought to Charlotte all those years ago, is that this was going to happen, and we have the right
Mm-hmm.
doctors. And by the grace of God, literally, it had not spread. It stayed very contained. It was aggressive for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it stayed contained. It had not spread. I did not need chemo. I did not need radiation. I had my first surgery in January, end of January. So within a month, I was
Mm-hmm.
in diagnostic, done surgery, and I had my second reconstructive surgery in August. But that whole year, I read my devotionals every day. I prayed every day. I prayed for other people every day. And I knew God wanted me to tell my story. And I know He wanted me to tell people, you have to have faith, you have to believe. Because if you don't, you're starting off in such a negative,
Mm-hmm.
emotional, physical, healthy mindset. And I had been struggling with just life. It's just life, children, illness, just a lot of different things. And it was one of those moments that redefined everything. It transformed me, transformed my health, it transformed so many different things for me. And I feel like I can't keep that to myself now. I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
need to share it with people and tell people and
Mm-hmm.
try to lift others up, like the baby Jesuses, leaving those for
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know, right? I know. I just got another shipment, and these have all different poses. Like they're holding book.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No.
It's
Oh, I
amazing.
love
He's
it.
holding a book and he's pointing up. And so I got a whole new shipment that I'm handing out. But no, it's a good feeling to know, hey, something that you didn't plan on, something that nobody wants to hear or have happen can have so many good things come out of it if
Mm,
that's the way you approach it and that's the way you look at it. So yeah, it's
yeah.
been transformational for sure,
Mhm.
but in such a great way.
Yeah. Ah, such a testimony. And like so many things came to mind when you were sharing. First, like way back at the beginning when you started sharing the story, I love how you said, He didn't give me this, but He can use this. And I think so often we're like, God, why did you do this to me? Why did you make me go through this divorce? And I don't believe that He ever wants us to experience pain. So I believe, like you, that anything that we think is painful can be used, but it's the deep faith. It can
Yeah.
only be used and felt positive and felt transformative and all these things because of the deep faith and deep trust that it has a grander purpose, right? Like it sounds like your remembrance, like that deepened your faith. It deepened your remembrance in the truth of the love and that you're always held and, brought you deeper into prayer and just so many things. And so, yeah, I love that you said that because I think so often it's like, we look at like God made me have to do this or, like, and it's, I personally don't think that's the case. I think it's like you said, it's like a parent. I always refer back, and I think that's probably one of the greatest blessings I've had is the ability to raise a child because then when I'm like sorting through my own stories and stuff and in getting closer in my relationship with God and understanding it, I have so many references of that. Like, I don't ever want my son to feel pain. And like, I'm always there to talk it through with him for him to see the other side, but it's up to him. And it's not like I would ever intentionally inflict pain on him to be like, here, you need to learn a lesson, kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, we can see what the world brings forth can feel painful, and we can use it as an opportunity to see a different perspective, to understand in a different way. So I love that. And then your testimony, like to share immediately, The Chosen. And I love the show The Chosen because I'm such a visual person. It gives me so much visual for this Jesus. I had a visual of. I'm like, yes, this is him. He's so loving. He's amazing. Like, yes, this is the Jesus. I can see how people see Jonathan Rumi in the, in public and they're like, Jesus, like they literally
Yeah.
get down on their knees and cry because he is
Yeah.
such a beautiful representation. But the signs and wonders were done to people that would go and spread the message,
Yeah.
right? Like, and that's, not to say like you're healing. I mean, it's a sign and wonders, right? Your healing is a
Yeah.
miraculous thing. We call it miracles. And so you are like, that is like your foot, like this is your testimony that you get to share. um yeah, that's what I think of. I think of all the people like the one guy did you watch The Chosen?
Oh, I am a huge fan. Huge.
Yeah, I want to go to Chosen Con, but we
Oh
haven't
my
got there
gosh, I'm
yet.
going. I'm going.
What?
That's why when I texted you and I said I have so many exciting things, I'm going. It is Chosen Con is coming to Charlotte in
That's
two
where it is
weeks.
this year.
Yes, in two
I'm
weeks. I
so
bought tickets.
jealous.
I know. I'm telling you, it is. In fact, my church has the Chosen Bible study every Thursday night, and ours we're
Wow.
starting
Yeah, yeah.
the second season tomorrow. So at church, we watch an episode together and then we talk about it. And I was going to church to the services and I love the minister and it's a wonderful church. And then when I joined this Bible study, it took it kind of to the next level because when I would go to church, I would see people and wave and whatnot. But I absolutely love The Chosen. And he sent out a reminder, hey, don't forget, first meeting next week. And for those of you interested, Chosen Con will be in Charlotte. And I was like, wait, what?
How did I
So
miss
I went to my husband and I was like, do you care if, and he's like, go. And I was like, click, just bought a ticket. So he
You're
said,
like,
who
I
are you
don't
going
even
to go
care how
with?
much it costs.
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
Chosen Con.
Exactly. He's like, it's
Oh,
3 days. And I'm like, oh, it's 3 days. I'm going all 3 days, morning till night. I cannot wait. They're going to have meet
that
and
is
greets,
everything. Like, and just
everything.
like, even if you don't even see anyone from the Chosen, the energy that, like, people don't go to that hate God and don't have faith, and
Yeah.
like, it's just, you're gonna be crying the whole time, Joel. I'm
Oh,
already like in my head, Joey, thinking like I'm crying thinking of you
I know.
being there.
The community, like the community that you're
Yeah.
going to be in.
Ah, the
Yeah, it's going to
connections.
be such a love fest. And my husband's like, well, are you going to, like, so he's throwing out all these names of people. He's like, oh, you can invite so and so to go. Why doesn't so and so go with you? And I was like, I'm totally good going by myself.
Yeah.
I just want to be immersed in it and not have to, I mean, not that I don't love going with other people, but this is one of those instances I just want to be there.
Yeah. You don't want to
Yeah, I'm
have
really
any
excited.
other thoughts about like, oh, is Susie, is she okay if we stay an extra hour? Or,
Yeah.
which is our people pleasing, which is a thing that I work through, because people pleasing can get in the way of connection, right? It can get in
Yeah.
the way of us following. Oh my gosh, Joy. So jealous. I'm so excited for
Well,
you.
I'm like, okay, because it's Charlotte and we're moving
You
back to
can't
Florida
not
soon
go.
anyway. How do I not go? Yeah, it's
You
Charlotte.
can't. No, you can't not.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was like, how when stuff comes out early and people post fake news like on Facebook and stuff. It was a couple years ago, there was fake news about where Chosen Con was going to be. No, maybe it was this one. I thought it was going to be here in Washington where we are. I was like, oh my gosh, Patrick, we can go. And then come to find out it was like fake spam news and they hadn't released it yet. And I was like, oh man, but for
I
like,
know.
that's so exciting you're going.
I know.
I love that.
I'm
But
over the moon excited.
yeah, we'll have to have another call afterwards, because there's
Yeah.
gonna be so many connections, I'm sure, and I want to hear all
Oh
about
yeah.
it.
And so many
But like,
stories.
yeah, oh my gosh. But I brought that up because of when I think of like the signs and wonders that Jesus did, and then how the testimony was shared. I always envision, I think his name was Schmal. His wife was the blind lady, and he helped her to see. Do you like, he's always so loud. They follow him everywhere. It was like one of the first people he healed.
It was
And
Barnabas and his
Barnabas.
friend. Yes, Barnabas and his female friend
Oh,
that
it's not his wife.
eventually, yeah, I think they're just friends. I don't
Okay.
know. Actually,
I
now that
made
you
it
say
up.
that,
In my head, I was like, I just thought it was his wife, but maybe not. Maybe it's just his friend.
I mean, shoot, maybe it is, and I just didn't. Maybe that went over my head. But it is. It's the little. I mean, that's a huge healing, right? To heal somebody
Yeah.
from blindness is huge, or help them walk,
Right.
or whatnot. What I have really honed in on this last year is not only the huge miracles, but the little small ones too. Really
Mm.
small ones. Like, for example, before I could schedule my surgery to remove my breast cancer, I had to meet with the plastic surgeon first.
Mm.
I was told it could take months. And I was like, months? I need to get this out. Like, I need to get this out. We got to get going. And I was able to get an appointment fairly quickly within just maybe a few weeks. And Charlotte was supposed to have a snowstorm that day. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I can't get to my appointment in uptown Charlotte from my suburb for this appointment, this is going to be, I mean, I don't know when I can get back in. And this is just going to be so much. So I drove to my appointment. My appointment was at 1 p.m. And I drove down there at probably 11 o'clock in the morning. And I walked into their office and they were like, your appointment's not for a couple hours. And I was like, listen, it may snow. You guys may need to close the office early. So I just want to be here. He can see me and then you guys can get out. So they're like, okay. I think they even went to lunch. I don't know. But I went, had my appointment, check, all the boxes are lined up. And I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you for doing this for me. Thank you. I drove back home to my suburb. As I was pulling into my driveway, the snow started falling. And
Mm.
I was like, that is a sign from God that He waited. He waited to bring the
Mm.
snow until after I had my appointment. And I just knew all these little tiny things that nobody may have even ever thought about that before, or just stupid little thing. I say stupid little things like, oh, it's raining and I'm pulling into Whole Foods and there's a parking spot right up front. I always
Yeah.
stop and thank God. I always say thank you, God, for that parking spot,
Mm.
because it is the little things. It's everything that you look around, you see it in nature. It's just sometimes when I see a baby and they're looking up in the sky and they're smiling and laughing, and I'm thinking, they're talking to
They know.
somebody. Hmm.
Yeah, they know more than we like.
Yeah.
We think there's so much they need us, but really we need them.
Oh, yeah. They're
And
still pretty connected at that point, I feel like.
yeah, yeah, I love that because it's you know it what I the journey I'm on is realizing everything is a miracle. And the only time that if we're not witnessing the miracles, something's gone astray, and the only thing that's gone astray is our mind. So we're in a place of fear. And like it was even was it Einstein? I think it was Einstein. He literally said, "I've either everything's a miracle or nothing is a miracle. Like make a choice. Which one? Like it can't be bits and pieces." And so I love that you bring up, the small things. And I think again, to refer to The Chosen, I haven't talked about The Chosen in a while, but I love The Chosen. When the one guy, and I'm bad with names, so just bear with me, the guy that had the limp, that was
Hmm.
one of Jesus's disciples, and he came to him and he was like, how can I go heal others when you haven't even healed me? And the message I received from that in that conversation that they had on The Chosen was like, because you believe still. You don't need this sign and wonder to believe. You see, like what we're talking about, you can see all the small miracles, but sometimes it takes that large, quote unquote, feels large, right? Because I think they're all equally the same, actually, because like that, you getting to that appointment was just as influential as every other little moving piece that got you to this place of, free of cancer. So it's if it's all equal, but sometimes like we've trained our mind to think things are bigger or smaller, and there's people that aren't willing to see the smaller, they're not ready yet, so they get this large shaking of like, oh, you can't deny this, right? Because like the
Yeah.
parking spot or this, or they could be like, oh well, because you just, that was timing, Joy, like you got there at the, you know what I mean, like it's
Yeah.
easier for the
Yeah.
brain to like dismiss it versus like, oh, you were blind one day and now you're not. Now you can see, like even in The Chosen, the guy that he does the mud on his face, um, the the rabbis or whatever, they even tried to deny it. They're like, that can't be possible. And that like, but it was so glaring. It was like, how, like everything, he was blind minutes
Yeah.
ago. Like you can't deny that. So
And
yeah,
I think you're so right. And I think some people wait for that big miracle. Like,
yeah.
I was passed over for that promotion over and over. When I get that promotion, what about the miracle that you have a job? That's, or things like, oh my gosh, this traffic jam, and I can't believe this traffic and this and that. Be thankful and grateful you have a car. It's just
Yeah.
one of those, every little thing that is happening to us, I do think is a gift.
Mhm.
And I struggle with it too. Like after my second surgery, and it was fairly quickly, I was really struggling with how I looked. And I felt guilty for being vain about how
Mm.
I looked, because I should just be grateful I don't have cancer. So that was a big
Yeah.
struggle for me. And when I tell you my down days, I could count them on one hand. I had very few truly down days, and some of it I was like, oh, this I think is hormones. But I called a friend of mine and we were talking, and she said to me, and backstory, she's helped me a lot with my faith, a lot. And she said to me, you know what, Joy, you just need to pray for acceptance. And I was like, oh, wow. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I don't take that lightly. Even now, when I
Mhm.
struggle with physically, how I look, yes, it feels vain. And then I stop and go, you know what? This is my body now. Be grateful.
Mhm.
It's a miracle. Just be grateful. And I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes we lose track of that and we get away from it and we forget about it.
Mm.
because we're not experiencing the big things.
Mm.
And when we were in Bible study before we went on the break, and there was a man in our group who really, I think, is struggling with his faith and he's not really sure. And there was a woman in the group that was kind of trying to almost fire hose him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? He has to get to that place on his own. And whether it's
Mm-hmm.
something big, something small, in his mind,
Mm-hmm.
he's got to come to that.
Yeah.
And I've tried to use that, be a sprinkler, not a fire hose with my family,
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody in my family is super faith filled, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't ever want to make them feel uncomfortable. So I say things
Yeah.
not to fire hose them, but just almost like we talked about a minute ago, is ministering a little bit. You're having a bad day. Let's talk through it and, remember patience and timing. And so
Yeah.
I think everybody, you're right, judges things on big and small, big miracles, small
Mm-hmm.
miracles. And I agree with you. I think they all are,
Mm-hmm.
if you personally have the right perspective to see it
Mm.
that way. And I do
Yeah.
think it begins with gratitude.
Mm. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
100%, but a little
Well, I
bit.
think a lot of my transformation, like into personal development and stuff, began with a gratitude practice because I think we are so trained to see the negative in the world. Like everything is like that, right? Like every commercial is just exploiting your negative things, but giving you a solution, right? Like I spent all this money on people teaching me how to be good salesperson and business and stuff. And it was always about like, driving in their, painting their hell and you providing the heaven. So it's always this focus on the negatives. And I think that shift, it's a gradual shift or it's a life jarring shift, right? Like lots of near death experiences tend to have that to people. But for me, it started as like a gratitude practice. Every morning I'd write down 3 things I was grateful for. And then it became like I woke up grateful. And then slowly it's transformed from grateful for things for just like pure gratitude for knowing truth, for knowing the love that exists everywhere. And like you talked about the sprinkler versus the fire hose, that's the lighthouse for us. Like the lighthouse doesn't send rescue boats out, it doesn't anything like that, it just continues to shine the light. So like like we're talking like ministering to me is just like living the word, right?
Yeah.
Living word
Yeah.
all day
Yeah.
every day, like. And
Yes.
yes, of course, like you said, Joy, there are days where I do not appear to be living the word, and but it's a practice, right? Like
Yeah.
if I would be up there with Mother Teresa and Gandhi and Jesus and everyone else if I wasn't here to practice. And I'm here, practicing. And
Yeah.
but my goal is to be a living example of the word every single day, to
Yep.
literally live like Jesus. Like I remember when I was a kid and they had "What would Jesus do" bracelets, and it was like
Yep.
the fad. And then when I started getting deeper in my faith, I made a ton. I don't even have one on today. I usually always have one on, but I have WWJD, and it's literally like such a beautiful reminder. Like, what would Jesus do in this moment, right? Would he be
Yeah.
that upset about being in traffic, or he would trust that he's exactly where he's meant to be and that everything is working for the good? Same for like the promotion, right? We think we know what makes us happy, but I'm pretty sure God knows what makes me happy better than I do. So maybe that promotion actually is the opposite of what I think it is. So it's
Yep.
about acknowledging, like, yeah, at the level of Ashley, like let's say just like 3D being or whatever versus like light and love, you think the promotion has all of your problems solved. But the truth is, if it did, it would happen because God is
Yep.
ensuring that everything that is meant to happen for the good is happening. There's a quote in the Bible, right? Like everything is unfolding for the good. And in A Course in Miracles, it says everything is happening for your happiness.
Right.
Like even though it may not seem that way, but it's because you don't know what makes you happy. And that's happened multiple times.
And I tell that to my kids a lot, especially my middle daughter, a lot. Like she'll say to me, "But mom, I prayed and prayed and prayed for this and it didn't happen." And I'm like, "You know why though, sweetheart? because it's in God's timing. There's a reason why
Mm-hmm.
it didn't happen right now. You don't know why, I don't know why, but He knows why. And He doesn't make mistakes. Everything is in His timing for your benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll just quick example, she was pledging for sorority and then it wasn't going well and she decided, hey, this isn't for me, I'm not going to do this right now. And then she went back to it. So a lot of our discussion was around that. And she did end up getting in a sorority. And I was like, that I was happy that she did for her for personal reasons, but I was also very happy for her from a faith-based reason
Mm-hmm.
because it showed her, yes, your prayers were answered in His timing when He
Mm-hmm.
knew it was best for you. Maybe if you would have gotten in a sorority sooner, it would not have
Who
gone
knows?
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, millions of different things. Even just as far as I used to be so anxious and so much anxiety. Now, part of that's thyroid driven and hormones and blah, blah, blah. But from a mindset standpoint, now when I'm running late, and maybe before I would have been really anxious, like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm running late, I'm running late. Now I'm not anxious about it because I'm like, you know what? I'm probably running late because He's saving me from somebody running a red light and hitting my car. Like, I think, which sounds so dramatic, but I always think there's a purpose
Mm-hmm.
behind it all. So instead of being so anxious about everything and so worried about everything, just sit back and relax and have some faith. I
Mm-hmm.
always tell
Yeah.
my kids and my friends too, faith over fear and hope over worry.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that fear and worry start to kick in, you got to just push them down and let your faith and hope come up to the top,
Mm-hmm.
because it says that in the Bible too. Worrying about tomorrow, you have enough for today, and
Mm-hmm.
just different mindsets on trying to be positive. But you said it earlier, and I totally concur. It's practice. Every
Mm-hmm.
single day, I do stuff that I'm like, oh, I don't know if God would be really happy that I had that bad thought or whatever. But then I think about the grace and mercy of He
Mm-hmm.
knows that we're going to sin. He knows that we're not perfect. And that's why He gives us so much grace and mercy. So give ourselves grace and mercy
Mm-hmm.
too, to make those mistakes. You said before about being a parent. I feel that way about God. His unconditional love is so much more understandable, I think, because I have that for my children. So I get it. I get you would die for your child. I get He
Mm-hmm.
would do anything for us. He sacrificed for us. And I think that's a big part of the gratitude is I want, just like you said, I want to be more like Jesus. I want to have that such clean, pure heart and
Mm-hmm.
never have any bitterness or anger. And I want to always forgive. And that's not easy. We have to practice that, I think, and be very conscious
Mm-hmm.
of it a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. We're all working on it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's like we talk about in Lighthouse, we now talk about because at the beginning, when you're getting deeper into this, you start to feel shame because you start to see your patterns of how the same story comes up and up, and you're like, I already dealt with that, and you almost create a new layer of shame. But in Lighthouse, Julie actually came up with it, PQT, which means pretty quick turnaround. So instead, we pay more attention to that. Like, how much quicker are we doing what you're saying, handing it over and allowing the light to come through, allowing ourselves to bring awareness to how this story is causing us to be in a state of fear and worry. And so
Right.
we really measure it like that, like, oh, it's a pretty quick turnaround this time. I didn't sit in it for weeks or, even hours, whatever it might be, because it's a practice, and we spend so many years, I mean, I believe lifetimes, but that's neither here nor there, of building these
Yeah.
stories of shame and guilt. But we have, like, personal development is a bazillion-dollar industry because of one reason, because it's just constant, because personal development is about developing the person, not developing the spirit. Now, do I think personal development can lead to spirit development? I do. But if you get stuck in this personal development rat race, it's the constant seeking of the instant fix, right? We think it's
Yeah.
this, oh, I tried Eckhart Tolle's Be Here Now. but it didn't give me everything I wanted. All right, on to Jay Shetty's How to Be a Monk. Oh, but that's, like, it's like we're, what I used to say is the spiritual buffet line. A little bit here, a little bit there, but it's really about finding one. I don't care what it is. Could be Eckhart Tolle's Be Here Now. It could be, Catholicism. It could be Judaism. It could be Muslim, and go deep. Keep
Yep.
going. When you feel the block, keep going. When you
Yep.
want to give up and choose something else, keep going. Going deep into one thing is so much grander than eating a million things.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I also think too, being able to have openness to talk about it, because then you're
Huge.
learning from other people. When last year I had a couple of friends, I mentioned my girlfriend earlier, my friend Susie. She really, really did so much to help me before my diagnosis, and then of course after my diagnosis. And she and I went to church together. We were on a family trip, her family, my family, and we went to church together in St. Augustine on now I'm trying to think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We went to one of the oldest churches. I think it may be the oldest church in the United States because it's St.
In the
Augustine.
entire US? Wow,
I think so because it's St. Augustine.
that's
I'm
old.
almost positive. So anyway, and it wasn't, like a grandiose cathedral or anything like that. It was this beautiful church, and we were sitting in church together, and it was such a beautiful moment, and I was crying. I was very emotional. They were singing the song Gloria, and my grandmother's name was Gloria, and my grandmother had had breast cancer. So at that point, I hadn't met yet with my surgeon. So I didn't know at
But you
that
knew
point.
that you had
Yes.
it already. Okay.
I knew I had breast cancer. I just didn't know to what extent, if it had spread. So those few weeks were a trial because I just didn't know, and it was a lot of fear. I'm talking so
Trust.
much fear. And she and I in that church in that moment and that song, it really kind of reiterated, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally off on a tangent here. But so back to my friends. So my friends that have a lot of faith, but we didn't really talk about it. It wasn't like a focus of conversation. It wasn't anything. This past year, it has started to be focused conversations. What books we've read, going to Chosen, watching, the convention, watching The Chosen. I tell everybody, you haven't seen The Chosen? Oh my gosh, you gotta
I know,
watch
me
it.
too. I'm like, you had it? I was, yeah.
Yeah,
Me
I'm
too.
like, oh, and House of David. Don't even get me started. Have you seen House of
Oh, I
David?
don't know. What's that on?
Oh, it's Prime. It's on Prime. House of
House of
David.
House of
House
David.
of
I'm
David.
putting it in my phone.
It is very akin to The Chosen as far as like the costumes and the acting and the scenery. And in
Okay.
fact, the actor that plays David is coming to Chosen Con. And there's talk of maybe a collaboration in the future and whatnot. But that's
Oh.
another one that to learn, I've learned so much from The Chosen. I've learned so much more about
Me too.
Jesus and the Bible
Mm-hmm.
and even even just the Jewish faith. I've learned so much. But same thing with House of David. I learned that story and all the, that's another incredible one. But my point is that I have certain friends that we became a lot more verbal and we started talking more about it. And then friends of mine would share stories about how they knew it was God, or they felt God, or they got a sign
Mm-hmm.
from God. And it just became kind of back full circle to what we said before about a community. When you can talk openly about your faith with somebody and not feel that judgment or, oh my gosh, she's turned into a Bible beater or whatever, it's such a beautiful feeling to be connected because it makes you feel connected to them, and no judgment, I guess, is one of those
Well,
things that really came out of it with some of my dear friends. It's been, yeah, it's been really transformative, I guess is the right word.
yeah. Yeah, I would say, like, I remember like told Julie, I hope she'll be the one listener we have because she always listens to everything. I love it. But I remember, so I was working with Julie one on one, and we connected. She shares this openly, um, because she wanted inner child work, and that's what I shared myself as in that moment, was an inner child worker. And so we started working together. But I was really starting to go deeper in my spiritual journey when we started working together, and I just remember feeling scared for Julie to find out, because I started making these YouTube videos where I was talking about Jesus and God and all. And I just remember this massive fear of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, is she going to fire me? Is she going to want to work with me if she knows like I've become this, like, because it was my mind still trying to wrap around, I've become this Jesus freak, right? Like I've
Yeah,
become
yeah,
this
yeah,
this person. And and she came the way she came in, not on her side, but on my side, I was still very much in like personal development. So I was still very in the ego, like chasing what you want and things. But what I was unfolding to was like, oh, I'm not in charge here, right? Like Jesus is my guide and God's the one writing the script. I just have
yeah,
to like, let Jesus lead the way. And I don't even remember. She came across my videos on Big Miracle Energy, and that's where I was going deeper into A Course in Miracles. Like that's how I was processing. Like you had your friends. I didn't really have one. I had Patrick. Like don't negate that. Like that was huge. But I needed another level of processing. And so I was making these videos for myself, like essentially talking to myself. And Julie found them. And I was so freaking scared. But that our relationship went from here to like celestial speed up in a matter of, I don't even, like, it was so quick. It went like just so much deeper into like being such deep mirrors for one another, and just like this deeper dive. And I bring that specifically up because I think it's a testimony to, I think it's under the surface waiting for all of us to just give it permission, right?
yeah,
Like you have a group
yeah,
of certain friends, I have a group of certain people, but it can be everyone. It's like you said, the guy at church, he's not ready yet to be in. I mean, I think it's beautiful he's at Bible study. So he
yeah,
obviously is like right there. But when it's like when someone is, it's like floodgates. It's like
yeah.
you're like, you can't even make this up. Our relationship was this yesterday and today. It's like not even the same. It's like
Right.
so polar different. And it's like a connection at a level that's not possible through any other form of connection, if that makes sense.
And I do, yeah, it totally makes sense. And I also think it's a timing thing because, like, at our church, they have a mantra: if you don't have it all together, you'll fit right in, because it's a growing, learning process together.
Mhm.
And I'm just throwing this out there that if you wouldn't have already had an established relationship with Julie, and that happened right in the beginning, and she didn't know you very well, and
Oh yeah, that would have
you
been
know what I
no,
mean?
that would have never. Yeah, 100%. It would have
Yeah.
never allowed. It's 100% timing.
And like my friend Susie, we've been friends since we were 16 years old. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
decades
Yep.
upon decades. She has seen every stage in my
Version
life,
of you.
and oh, she has seen it all.
Yeah.
And to be on this, to, like you said, open the floodgates and be able to talk and share books and movies
So
and just to talk about it, it does. It's an exponential level to your relationship, because I also feel like it's a safety, it's another safety piece because you connect on that level. I always feel like empathy, I'm just reading about this in my devotional today. Empathy and friendship, I think that's
mhm.
why our friendships are so deep, as,
Yeah.
and I'll just say, as a woman with my female friends, because we can empathize with each other through so many things, and it brings us
Mm,
closer. And I feel like that's the same way with faith. If
mm.
you have a commonality and you see things in a similar way, you're empathize. I mean, you're not empathizing, but you're connecting in a way that you don't even have to put words to it
You
sometimes.
can't. A lot of times you
Yeah.
can't. You can't even put
Yeah.
words. You're just like, yep, it is.
Yeah.
It happened
Yeah.
that way.
Or it's just a
Yeah.
few words. Like I'll
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say to my friend who's going through a hard time, keep your peace. Just keep your peace. Try as hard as you
Mm,
can. Which, speaking of,
yeah.
Julie gave me the biggest compliment before she left. Um,
Mm,
we were talking and we were on the phone and she said something along the lines of, "You seem so much more peaceful than I've ever seen you." And same thing, Julie and I go back to, we were 16 years old. So, same thing. We have been through every facet of life together. And when she said that, it was such a huge compliment. And I give all credit to faith and God and just being a lot more peaceful. So I
yeah.
was sharing that with a friend of mine here whose husband went through cancer at the same time I did. And she and I mean, we got each other through it. It was daily. We would send each other positive messages and prayers. And I told her, my friend Julie said this about me. And she said, I've only known you for the last 8, 9 years. And she said, and I would agree. I've never seen you
Mhm,
so at peace. And it kind
mhm,
of goes back to what I was saying before about anxiety. There was so much going on and so much anxiety and so much turmoil. This happened, and it was just like a stop, be still.
mhm.
And then the miracles started happening. And they were happening beforehand.
Feast
I
or
just didn't
witness,
see
you
them.
are open to witnessing
Yeah.
and receiving them. I
Yeah.
mean,
Because
that's
for me, when I started realizing, oh, wow, the power of God, then I went back and I was thinking all the way back to way, way past experiences where I'm like, wow, that wasn't
mhm.
just good timing. That really
No.
was God
Yeah,
putting the
like,
right person
yeah,
in the room. Yeah, it's
right. Now
amazing.
I now like I used to always say, "Oh, that was such a coincidence. Oh, what a synchronicity." And it's like, "Nah, nope. It's like a really great movie. When you watch a really
Oh,
great
yeah.
movie, it didn't happen by happenstance. There was I mean, like Avatar. I love Avatar. I don't know if you've seen Avatar, the
I have
movie.
not
Have you
seen
seen
it.
it?
I have not seen
Okay.
it.
Well, the water one, I'm a big water girl. I love dolphins and whales. I love that one. Literally, they like the next one doesn't come out till like 2029, or it takes like almost 10 years, I think, to create one of these movies, right?
Wow.
Because the amount of detail and work and
Yeah.
money, lots of money goes into it. So when you watch the movie, you're not like, oh my God, what a coincidence that they did that. Oh, how synchronistic that the whale jumped there. And no, no, no. This was super highly calculated,
Yeah.
and it was produced by one of the greatest producers, right? And so when we look at it from that view of like, oh, no, no, no. Everything here is so calculated for us to remember the truth that the fully reliant child of God we are, then there is no coincidences or synchronicities. It is like fine to it's like to the teeniest, tiniest speck of dirt on the ground,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yes.
is is a part of our is a part of our mirroring necessary for us to remember. And sometimes it's not favorable looking.
Right.
Sometimes it, appears to be like, oh, why do I get the short end of the stick? I mean, there's been so many times. I remember my divorce. Like this that is so crazy. The day of my divorce, I went to the hearing by myself, and I went home by myself. Probably one of the biggest mistakes ever. But of course, that was the mindset I was in, like kind of like a suffering, like, punish yourself more. And I got down on my knees in my apartment and I cursed God. I was like, is this what you wanted? Are you happy? I am absolutely like, and I vowed in that moment, like, we're done. Our relationship is done. I'm done with you. Look, like I might get emotional. Done with you. Like, I can't believe you did this. Like, and I just cursed him out. And then years went by and I found my way back to church, and I found myself in my living room on my knees with so much gratitude. And I had this flash of the remembrance of me on the floor in my apartment, of being so upset. And then now, years later, seeing like, oh, you were always with me. Like, it was a super important part of the script. Like,
Yeah.
Avatar wouldn't be the same if, they didn't kill the one guy that you didn't want to die. Like, my movie would not have been the same if that,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't have had the experiences. But
I
But we so often blame God. Like I was like, screw you. I'm going to do this on my own. You're an asshole. You know, like every naughty word in the book, I called God out. But he
and
didn't abandon me.
I was to say, and he forgave you. It's like a teenager and a parent.
Mm,
They can be challenging and you
yeah,
can get frustrated, but at the end of the day,
they're your
when,
kid.
yeah. And also too, he knew you were in a lot of pain. He knew you were hurting. And
Yeah.
that's one of my friends has been going through a hard time for a few months, and I send her Bible scriptures and, you know, different things off of Pinterest with pictures of Jesus like holding you,
Mm-hmm.
and same thing, just kind of as a reminder that no matter how bad you're feeling right now, and it may not feel like he's with you,
Yeah.
he is, and he knows you're in pain. It's no different than even my friends and I, when we talk about our teenage girls being
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And don't get me wrong, I have my kids, all three of them were amazing. But of course, they have their moments, right? So
Yeah.
and because I'm an older mom, I mean, my youngest is 18 and my oldest is 30. So I'm the older mom. And a lot of my friends, they're, they have 18-year-olds. That's their oldest. So I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
have a little bit more experience, but I always say, you know what, when your kids come home and they're nasty to you or rude to you or disrespectful to you, you're their safe place. That you're the one that they know is going to
Mm-hmm.
unconditionally love me no matter how nasty I am. And they're always going to be there for me. So, as frustrating as it is, and sometimes it hurts your feelings, I always try to remind myself of, you know what, I'm her safe place and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And honestly, she's such a great citizen out in the world. And I hear so many wonderful things about her
Amazing.
that
Yeah.
if she comes home and lets it all out at home. So we came up with this kind of phrase when my girls would be venting or upset about something. And I would be like, oh, don't say that. That's not very nice or whatnot. And we came to kind of this agreement on it's these four walls. Whatever is
Yeah.
said in these four walls, it's your safe place. You can vent, you
Mm-hmm.
can get it all out. But when you go out there in the world, I always tell my girls this too. You do not have to be best friends with everyone, but you have to be kind to everyone. So I've learned, and I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying with God, is that you can be mad and yell and
Mm-hmm.
truly angry, but he loves you so much that he's like, I know you're just hurting. I know that
Yeah.
I'm the person that you're venting to, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to leave you. And
Right.
I also believe that anything negative we do go through, our trials and tribulations, are purpose driven. There is always a meaning, and we may not know what it is. We may never know what it is. I have a friend who had a child that passed away. There's never going to be an answer for that. There's never going to be well, there was a reason for that. But I know that he touched so many lives when he was here,
Mm-hmm.
including my own children, my own family, that he was such a blessing to us. You know what I mean? It's so there's maybe not a reason why that we can grasp onto,
Mm-hmm.
but there's good that we can grab onto.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part
Yeah.
about memories is remembering the good and not necessarily the bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just like such deep, deep trust because like what Jesus shares in a course in miracles is there's only two displays essentially from people you could say. And one is love and the other is a cry for love. And so the question then is, how do you meet love? Well, you meet love with love. And then how do you meet a cry for love? With love, right? So then if you like you're saying like when you're really in this state of allowing God to flow through you to be the word, it doesn't matter if someone spits in your face. I mean, Jesus, like we saw it. They literally nailed Jesus to the cross and he didn't curse them out or anything. He met them still with love because he still saw them for just, you know, it's an extreme version, right? But it's like me on the ground cursing out God. God just saw that I was in so much pain. I didn't know what to do. And really, that's what happened to Jesus. They were in so much fear of what he represented, that like they were scared and did what they felt was necessary, and not saying it's right or it's wrong, but it's seeing everything in the world as either love or a cry for love. And then I have the ability, do I meet it with another cry for love, which is essentially attack and attack? And we know how that turns out. That turns into like a big huge, not love fest, far from
Yeah.
it, right? Like pain and separation and suffering and us against them, instead of like seeing it as just this person is hurting inside and they're needing a projection. They're needing to project it out of them because it is so uncomfortable,
Right.
so uncomfortable. Hmm.
And that is something that I have really been struggling with, is forgiveness. I read my devotionals every day. I read my Bible every day. And I pray every day, help me learn to forgive. And it's not forgiving people that have hurt me. That to me is easier. It's easier because I empathize. Okay, they were hurting, so they hurt me, or they were in not a great place, or whatever it may be when it comes to me. I have such a harder time forgiving people when they hurt the ones that I care about and the people that I love. And I've really been praying very hard about that. Like, help me to forgive them, because it's not even personal. It's not even something that was done to me. It was something that was done to someone that I care so much about. So help me to forgive them, because it's not, I don't want that in my heart. I don't want that in my soul. I don't want the bitterness and the anger. Help me get rid of it. And I'm still struggling with that. I'm still praying about that. And I'm telling myself, it's okay. Your forgiveness of those people will come in time. You just need some time. Time heals all wounds, I guess. But then I sit there and think, you know what, though? It says everywhere in the Bible, forgive, forgive, forgive. He forgives us. We need to forgive others. They didn't even do anything directly to me. So I'm still trying to find a way to say, hey, let it go. It's okay. Your primary focus is on them, supporting the ones you love. What do they need? How can you help them? But that anger sometimes still slips in. And I am really trying to work on that, to say, hey, that's not okay. Let's and you said it before, let's practice that, Joy. Let's practice every day being better about that.
Well, I can't give you an invitation.
Yes.
Around that. So an invitation is, I feel like you need to forgive yourself for not forgiving them. Like, I feel like that might be your first barrier, because you're so like you're kind of going up against, you think it should look a certain way, so you're trying to force it, but it's obviously not happening. So then you're creating this story of like, I should be able to forgive them. But you said earlier that everything is happening for the good. Everything is happening exactly as it's meant to, whether you're in a traffic jam, whether you're not able to forgive someone, it's all being used as a tool. So it's really this trust and surrender that, okay, this is where we're at. Like,
I
this is
like
where
that.
we're at. Yeah, like, because I get it so much. But what helped me start to move over that is to view forgiveness in a different aspect. So I used to really view forgiveness where it's like, you hurt me, but I forgive you. So it's still the belief that you hurt me, instead of really shifting it and realizing you did exactly what God, like what was a part of the plan. So I'm only viewing it as a negative because I have my own stories. But if I take it up to the level of the movie, right? God wrote the best Avatar ever, then it's like, even though that felt hurtful, that was a part of God's plan. That was a part of everything unfolding for the good, even though it does not feel that way, right? Like when we take it down to the personal level.
Yeah.
And so that has really helped me to see forgiveness in the light of God has intricately woven everything so much. And yes, by quote unquote forgiving, I am not saying I agree with what happened, but I'm saying I understand that it had a purpose.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Understanding that I had a purpose. Because I see that for myself, but for
Yeah.
others, it's harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the way that you framed that because it is all purposeful for sure. And I do believe that. It's learning to keep my mouth shut. Is the bigger
But
issue.
maybe not, or forgiving yourself if it opens, right? Because again, that goes
Yeah.
into the trust joy of like, part of the God's plan was for Joy to say this thing on this day, which sparked, I mean, we talk about this in Lighthouse all the time, of like, we are just meant to follow and be the ministers, which means not judging ourselves, right? So, not even judging ourselves, but allowing ourselves the same forgiveness, the same judgment free zone that God provides us. And then whatever comes out of us, if it's coming from that place, right? If you're in a place of fear and attack, you're going to feel shame and guilt for sure because you met their cry for love with a cry for love. And yes, but you still don't want to make another layer. And then you have to just trust, like, okay, that was a part of God's plan. It came out of me. And now it's not up to me how the other person receives it, right? That is between, spirit, Jesus, God, and that person's perception of the world. Because
Yep.
what if you're the big prickler, right? What if your job in that moment is to prickle? And prickling, I had a friend a long time ago tell me, because I just say what's on my mind. And so I would sometimes feel shame and guilt. And I was like, gosh, I prickle people. I prickle a lot of people. And she said to me, she goes, but prickling is movement. And people are not going to remember truth if there's not some shaking up that happens. And not that I'm intentionally now going out being like, I'm going to shake you up. I'm going to shake
Yeah.
you up. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But being open to being like, okay, God was using me in that moment as a shaker. And
Yeah.
I feel sad about it because it triggers some of my stories, but it's not about me. It's about God. It's about the journey of remembrance.
And I like it when you say prickle because I feel like that. Like I'll feel guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, be kinder, Joy,
Mm-hmm.
or whatnot. And sometimes it's just asking questions. Like I'll ask, well, how did that make you feel when that person
Mm-hmm.
said that to you? And I feel like I'm shaking it up too. Or sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I've apologized and said, I'm not trying to put bad thoughts in your mind, or I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to, pour salt in the wound, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then I'll feel bad later. Like, Joy, you did pour salt in the wound. Like, why did you even bring that up? But I
Yeah.
like what you said too, is I feel like giving myself a little bit more grace on the forgiveness, because you're right, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I need to be still and just support and love. But it goes back to, and Julie and I have talked about this too, you want to take care of the people you love. You want
Mm-hmm.
to help them. You want to take care of them. You, like you said about your son, you don't want your child or your friend to be in pain.
Yeah.
So you think you know how to help fix it for them. And
Right.
that's not your job. That's not my job. My job is to love and listen and support. So yeah, it's an internal struggle that I'm going to just
Yeah.
practice. And thank you for saying that. It's a tool. It's purposeful.
Yeah. Yeah. We always ask each other, or we say in Lighthouse, we're like, that sounds like we're being grandiose to God when we think how it should have been, right? Like, I shouldn't have said that. Well, it happened that way. And I'm pretty sure if we truly believe, all powerful, that if it wasn't meant to happen that way, it would not have happened that way. Because
Yeah.
you've had those moments where you're like, you can't even make this up. Like, how did this even like happen? And you
Yeah.
just have this reminder of like, oh, because if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen, even if it makes absolutely no sense. And
Yeah.
then the quite opposite. So
No, I
yeah,
love
and
that.
I think of like my son, too. I adopted him and he had been through a lot in his little life. And long story short, I had lived through something I wasn't supposed to live through and didn't feel worthy of it. So I was like, oh, there must be a reason I'm alive outside of me for someone else. Like I'm only here for someone else. And then I found my son and I was like, this is why. Like he will never suffer again in his life. We're going to, I sacrifice everything to do my best. And then it was the end of 8th grade, and he was entering 9th grade, which is, we know, a huge pivotal moment in,
Yeah.
you know, especially a boy, he's going through puberty, all these things. And I'm getting a divorce. And no matter how hard I tried to beg my ex-husband, let's just make it 4 years. That's it. Like, I've done everything to ensure Jaden doesn't have to experience anything. Let's just 4 years. Like, we don't even have to sleep in the same room. Let's just pretend. Like, I came up with every compromise possible to try not to have him feel pain, because I thought that that's how he would, you know, grow up the best or whatever. And then, of course, like, years of shame and guilt I had to move through because I fell apart as a mom and I wasn't there for him. And like, so much shame and guilt. And literally, like, 2 years ago, I think, and mind you, I've worked through, like, I've done so much personal development, and then I moved into spirit development. And like, even if you ask my coworkers back around the time of my divorce or before, they didn't even want to be near me. They're like, she was scary. We didn't know who we were going to get, everything, you know, like, I was a completely different person. And now I'm like just filled with joy and love. And my son, he express like, and he's not this kind of person where he expresses love or gratitude in like a feely way. And we were leaving a restaurant, and he came up to me, he's like, Mom, thank you for everything. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, for everything, for the divorce, everything, watching you you know, transform. I don't remember his exact words, essentially, is how I am where I am today. I was like, dang.
Okay, now I have tears in my eyes. That's beautiful. As a parent,
Yeah.
that's everything.
But I thought, like, I failed because I thought his life needed to look this way, and that's how he was gonna have a good life. And I thought, because I failed him, he was doomed. And instead, he, like, gosh, he was only what, 20 at the time that he said that, maybe 21. He was already able to see that how much pain, quote unquote, he went through was like, it was all part of the plan. And so,
And it's hard, I think, and I've never been divorced, but watching other people go through it, especially when you have children, it's not just about your personal husband-wife relationship. When you have kids, it's the breaking up of my family, and
yeah.
the I want to hold on to my family, and I built this beautiful thing, and it's just all coming crashing down. I can only imagine it's just a very painful thing to go through. And one of my friends that has been going through some stuff, I think, just like with my own kids, with my diagnosis, it's okay for your kids to see you in every gamut of emotion, because it's human and it's real. And then
Right.
they know it's okay. We're going to fall down, and we're going to get back up, and we're going to be angry and say things we shouldn't, and it's coming from hurt. And so I almost think there's a lesson for our kids when they see us come through and survive something so hard to go through.
Right.
And both of my younger girls have said, indirectly, just, oh, you were an inspiration. And that was my goal. I was like, I want to be so strong, and I want to show them and whatnot. But they also saw me on the couch and with drains and, you know, thin, and they saw me not healthy too.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a lesson that we don't want them to ever learn or go through, but I do think it makes them stronger and more resilient. And I do think, I mean, he said it to you, what a beautiful show of just love and admiration that, you know, that you went through this. I always toss around the idea of writing a book. Friends of mine, for years and years, we've talked about it. But when last year happened, I said, you know what, I am going to write a book, and I'm going to call it The Rainbow After the Storm, because there's always a rainbow after the storm. And which I don't know if you know, as far as
whatever,
where
we don't care. They just guess. I feel like they guess, because one day they're like snow, and oh, just kidding, it was rain. You know, like whatever.
Or there's a rainbow there and you just can't see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
there's always, you come through the other side,
Mm.
and it's almost more beautiful on the other side
Mhm.
because you're dry now and you're looking out and there's this beautiful rainbow. And years ago, one of my friends told me her mom gave her this advice about marriage. She said, marriage is like the weather. You're going to have downright hurricanes and tornadoes and horrible things, but you're going to have sunny, beautiful days too. You just weather through it. And it was such great advice. And I still hold on to that to this day. I mean, my friends and I will be like, it's a little chilly over here. Snow flurries coming in. I mean, we laugh
In the
about it
middle
all the
of
time.
summer, your husband's like, "What is she talking about?"
Exactly, a
I
little
love
chilly.
it.
But it's one of those things. I think same thing with rainbow after the storm is sometimes we have to weather through some really, really downright hurricanes,
Mm.
but then it's so beautiful. The weather is so beautiful on the other side of it
Mm.
that I almost feel like then the next time a storm comes, you're like, it's okay. It'll be fine. Let me get out the rain boots and the umbrella, but I know
Yeah.
I just have to walk through it.
Mm. Yeah. And it's almost like what came to my mind is the second time it comes around, quote unquote, or when you recognize and you have that, it's almost like you've already found the rainbow.
Yeah.
You've realized, like, it's kind of like in The Chosen, where all of a sudden Jesus just, the storm is there and then it's not there. It's
Yep.
like he's showing us that the storm is your stories. The storm is your belief that this does not have a purpose. And when you've weathered through one and you feel so much grander on the other side, it's because you have deeper remembrance. You're like, oh, yes, another reminder. Ashley's not in charge here, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so then you can be that little kid and put your rain boots on and go outside and get soaking wet and have wet hair and not get sick and jump, go against all rules.
Yep.
Um, and it's like you've made your own rainbow within the storm. You've remembered the rainbow even within the midst of the storm. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
I'm
remembering you're a child.
And that's one of the things that they talk about too in the Bible is just that pure heart, that pure innocence, that just
Mm-hmm.
pure. I was listening to Joel, I think it was Joel, and he was talking about, or maybe I was reading it, doesn't matter. When you're a child and your parents take you to the store or whatnot, you have no cares. You're not worried about how they're going to pay for the groceries or are you going to get lost or you're
Mm-hmm.
just walking around completely blind faith.
Yeah,
And I feel like we need to get back to that, being that childlike, just blind faith, like it's going to be okay. He's got it
that's
all
what
under
we're remembering.
control.
Yeah, 100%. We're remember. Yeah, oh yeah, that's exactly where. Yes, that is where we're headed. That is the practice we are getting back to, which is so funny because so much of, say, like personal development is the complete opposite. How to become, self-sufficient, make $1 million, become the best at this. When really, I feel like the invitation here is like play.
Yeah.
You're free. Play, enjoy, like just fully be in the state of laughter and joy because you are fully held. Like walk into that store and just in just amazement of everything because you don't have to worry about anything. I have everything
Yeah.
handled and I know any moment I don't feel happy inside or not happy because happy is a dopamine hit. When I don't feel joy, which is peace and just this even keel, just warmth that I've decided that Ashley's got to take care of herself, right? It's the little kid that all of a sudden thinks like, "Oh, mom's not going to make me dinner. I got to figure out how to make dinner."
Yeah. And I read, and I can't remember the exact Bible verse, but it talks about being content in any circumstance. So
Mm.
to me, joy and content do have two a little bit different connotations,
Do that?
but being content in every circumstance. And my girlfriend Jean and I talked about this, single moms struggling to being not struggling and in a different lifestyle. We were just as happy back then as single moms struggling as we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So being content in any circumstance you're in, My girlfriends and I joke about, oh, we love to take our girls trips and, go different places and explore and travel. But then we always laugh and say we could have fun under a bridge in,
Mhm.
with paper bags and on cardboard. Like we could,
Mhm.
because we're together and we're content. So it is, I think it's being content and finding that joy
Mhm.
in every single circumstance.
Mhm.
I read something too where it talked about instead of being impatient when you're waiting in line, take that time and pray. And I'm thinking, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, that's a great idea. Because sometimes
Yeah.
I'll feel like, you know what, did I say all the prayers I wanted to today? I don't know. Well, I'm standing here in line at the dry cleaner.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, finding purpose in
Mhm.
everything
Yeah.
and just being content where you are, which
Yeah.
again is a practice.
It's a
Some
practice.
days
I
are
mean,
easier.
anybody tuning in, like, this is a practice. By no means am I, Jesus or Gandhi or Mother Teresa. But I think, yeah, what I've really rooted deeper into um, for prayer is constant. Like I've really my where I'm trying to get myself practicing of going is that prayer is not an activity, it's a way of being, and to me it's the having the open lines to God always to
Mhm.
allow spirit to flow through, which I think, yeah, it's those reminders, right? In the moment where you think you have nothing to do, you're actually having a conversation with God you just forgot. So like,
Mhm.
hop in when you're sitting in line, remember, like, hey, he's been on the phone the whole time, like listening into everything, like you can talk to him now, like he's always there.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I think
That's
that's
when
where,
people,
like, go ahead.
there's that phrase when people say, well, she found God. Well, God wasn't lost.
Yeah,
He was
no,
there the whole
he's,
time.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just turned to him and
I
you sought
remembered.
him out. Yeah, you
Yeah,
remembered. No, I
it's
love
like,
that.
remember when we had like real phones, like with a cord, and you told your friend, you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom, hold on. And you just like lay it on the counter, and then you run to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, maybe, oh, you notice there's an eyelash in your eye, and they're like, oh my gosh, am I getting a zit? And like all these things, and like 15 minutes passes, and you walk into the kitchen and you hear this yelling, and you're like, where the hell is this yelling coming from? And then you look, you're like, oh crap, Susie, I completely forgot about you. I'm here. Like it's the same thing. It's
It's,
like,
it is. It's the same
it's
thing.
like we were like, just a minute, God, let me go like try to figure this out on my own for a minute. But he didn't hang up. He's still there, like, all right, I see you. I got you. Like, I'm
That is
waiting.
so funny. That just
Yeah.
happened not that long ago. My brother did that to me. He was like, hold on a second. And then I could
And then he
hear
forgot
him
about
in the
you?
background working. Because, well, to be fair, to his credit, he was working. And then he was like, hold on a second. He's like giving measurements to somebody and this and that. So I sat there for a long time. And then I was like, I'm just going to hang up.
You're
But
like,
he
I
did the
think,
same thing. He's like, I forgot all about you. And I'm like, it's okay. It's no big deal.
yeah.
But it was,
See, and
yeah,
you were completely forgiving, right? You weren't
yeah,
like, oh, well, you can't call me for the next 20 years because I'm, like,
yeah,
same. It's the same kind of scenario. So, oh,
yeah.
joy. Oh my gosh. Like, we could go on forever. I'm
Oh, I
sure of
know.
it. And
I'm
I
sitting
would
here
love
thinking,
to have
okay,
more.
next time we talk, I got to tell you all about Chosen. There's still even a million things we didn't talk about this time.
Yes, yes. I don't know if Julie ever told you, but I call them through the lens episodes. So like I would watch a Chosen and then I would do a video kind of interpreting like the different parables and how like in today's world it's actually showing up. I'll send them to
Oh,
you so
I love.
you can
Yes,
see
please
what you think.
do.
They're on YouTube. But
Please do. I would
yeah,
love to see them.
we could geek out on the Chosen for sure. So this won't be our, if you're open, I would love to do more conversations.
Oh, for sure. I would love to. And watch House of
Yeah.
David. Tell me what you think.
Yes, I wrote it down. Pat and I are just finishing up something, so we will for sure check out House of
You
David.
should
But
be able to get it on Amazon Prime. I'm
we have
almost
Amazon
positive.
Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'm sure. But thank you so much for coming on. I'm
Thank
so
you so much
grateful.
for having me. I was so looking forward to this. So I was really bummed when we had to reschedule. So thank you for being flexible.
Oh, of course. And you were in sunny Florida.
Well, and then it got cold there. Ironically, that weekend, my husband and I were supposed to fly. We had tickets to Jill, or not tickets. We had plane tickets hotel reservations, the whole bit. We were going to go see a Joel Osteen service in Houston.
Where? Oh, wow.
And we ended up canceling it because the big snowstorm that came and hit Charlotte. And that's when I went to
Wow.
Florida. I know. So I'm really bummed that we didn't,
But you get to
because it
go
was
to
going to be a
Chosen
whole weekend.
Con.
I know. That was my consolation. I was like,
Right.
but we'll get back there. His church isn't
Yeah.
going anywhere. We'll get back there.
Right. And it's all over. Like, you could go listen to it. It's probably on YouTube. Chosen Con is not going to have videos on YouTube.
Exactly.
Right?
Perfect. But yes.
Oh, well, I want to hear all about it.
Okay.
So we will stay in touch. Thank you so much for coming on and having an amazing conversation. I'm just so filled with love and joy.
I'm just so glad we finally connected.
Yes, me too. I'm so grateful for Julie. She's such a connector.
I know. She's amazing. I know. And I love C's too. They're all amazing. Everybody's amazing.
Yeah. Well, so much love, Joy. You have an amazing day, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you. Sounds good. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.